you've got finished work, and maybe even a lot of it. The albums are mixed, the books are written, the art is made, but it's not out in the world. And not because it's not ready, but because something happens when you go to hit the publish button or send it to somebody who might publish it for you. It doesn't feel the way anybody ever said it should. This video is about the gap between when it's done and when it's seen, and why every time you try to close that gap, it only seems to make it worse. So this week I had a call with an amazingly creative woman who had so many things to show me. She pulled out not just one, but 2 finished printed books, design, layout, everything, bound. And she said that her friends had copies, but it wasn't up for sale anywhere. And one of them had a domain name connected to it, and it was a brilliant business idea, but she was doing nothing to promote it. Not just that, but she was a marketing and design expert, but she can't do it for herself. She can do it for other people, for other bands, other creatives, absolutely no problem, because that's work. But when it comes to doing it for herself, and this is really common, it's not just her, that she has this block. And the block is that it doesn't feel right to be doing that work for yourself. And also because it's a little bit tedious. And you've already gotten to the end of the project. You're holding the physical thing in your hand. And rather than doing the hard work, the tedious work of building a website, getting it published, doing the marketing, chasing all those things up, it's way easier to just start another project. And there's the pattern here. Instead of pushing through the discomfort of publishing, of putting it out there and finally releasing your finished work, it's easier to start something new, another project. It's exciting, it's new, there's a burst of energy and creativity, there's passion about it, and that other thing, it's finished and it's okay, it's just sitting on the shelf. We'll get to that later. But we never do, because beginning feels amazing. And publishing, releasing it, putting it out there can often feel like dying. The chronic starting isn't a separate thing, it's the same problem. It's an escape route from having to hit publish. Most people call this the fear of putting yourself out there. But for neurodivergent brains, there's something even more specific. It's called RSD, rejection sensitive dysphoria. And it's an absolutely crazy heightened reaction to anything that looks or feels or could potentially be rejection. And because releasing something publicly just invites the possibility of rejection, that's enough to stop us from hitting publish. One lady I spoke to had fully written and illustrated a children's book. She had copies of it and she couldn't put it in an envelope to send it to a potential publisher. Not because of what they might say, not because she didn't think it was good, not because it wasn't ready, but she was afraid of someday in the future, she might be invited to go to a bookshop to do a signing and somebody might say something to her then. Not even like maybe a year down the road, she had this imaginary thing of she might get this, oh, I love it, but it could be better. Completely made up scenario stopped her from putting it in an envelope and sending it. And there's multiple things at play here. Because as creatives, we can be so invested and intertwined with the work that we put out into the world that we're close to it. Part of us, part of our DNA, part of our thinking, the whole way we work is all wrapped up in the work that we put out there. And when somebody criticizes it, it makes us feel like we're being criticized. It's super important and super internal, and rejection sensitive dysphoria amplifies this off the charts to anybody who suffers it. And for people specifically with ADHD, they reckon about 70% of adults actually suffer with this. And it's huge. And I know what that feels like. The slightest inkling or, sense of rejection or criticism can send me spiraling. Just ask my wife. The studio is safe, but the internet is exposure. And when you share stuff with your inner circle, your friends, your collaborators, and people who like your work, like, they're not evaluating your worth as a person, or you're at least not rationalizing it like that. But when you release it publicly, you're inviting judgment from people that you've got no relationship to, complete strangers, zero attachment, and that just amplifies what they might say, what criticisms they might have, and that directly links to your identity. And our work and ourselves are so intertwined and infused as creatives that criticism of your thing is criticism of you too. And we feel that so hard as neurodivergent creatives, that RSD is just heightened. And that's what makes hitting the publish button feels like you're stepping off a cliff. And there's an old adage that the cobbler's children don't have shoes, or the shoes they're running around with have holes in them. And we could do this work. Like good few people that I've talked to are great writers, marketers. Like, they use these skills at work. They use these skills to publish other people's work. And they can do that. And the reason they can do that is because there's a deadline, they get paid, there's all of this scaffolding that happens. But when it comes to our own personal work, we make up the deadline. We only get paid if the thing sells. So there's none of the same framework around it that keeps us in check. So it's much harder. And we're also dealing with the fact that, hey, this criticism's coming right for me, right where it hurts, right where it's painful, and I'm not ready for it. So the idea of then going to do the repetitive, slow rewarding, almost dopamine-free tasks, and particularly for the ADHD brain, we need new, interesting, fun things to be doing to keep us motivated and keep us moving forward. This isn't a knowledge problem or a skill problem. It's a nervous system issue. And you can't solve a nervous system problem with the content calendar. Just post it. The traditional advice doesn't help when you're dealing with RSD. Like, it's a motivation issue. It's not. You're forcing action without actually addressing the underlying dysregulation, the shame spirals. It's not about momentum. Those content calendars create a sense of obligation without giving us any dopamine, and it intensifies the dread because we're constantly going, it's another tab that's running away in the back of our head, and it's making us even more terrified to release it. And traditional accountability can actually backfire, because then you're now going, I'm not just letting myself down by not posting this, I've committed to doing this and saying it to someone else, and that starts to feel like a threat as opposed to something that's genuinely helpful. I need to hold my hand up and say, I used to think part of the problem was starting and even finishing, but the more and more people that I'm working with, the more and more people that are attracted to the work that I do, they're showing up with lots of finished work. And they're showing up with this sense of fear about putting it out there, and they don't know how to do it. Because I don't think most creatives have a problem with starting. They love starting new things. They're even happy, a lot of people are happy to get through to the finishing stages, but they put these blocks in the way of actually getting it to the point where it's ready to be sent, uploaded, sold, whatever that state may be. Lots of the people I talk to have drawers and shelves of fully finished work ready to go. The problem was never starting, making, but it was actually being seen. And nobody warns you about what actually happens when you do put it out there, when you do manage to post it. It doesn't feel good, and sometimes it feels horrible, because certainly with ADHD, in my experience, when you work through something, when you've gone through the dopamine and you get something done, you hit the cliff and it just falls off, and you start to feel this dopamine hangover, and you start to feel terrible. And then you put it up there, like even just during the week, I was talking to somebody and they'd applied to be part of this really interesting musical retreat, and they'd been accepted. But they were just like, I felt numb. I felt empty. Like I should have been euphoric. I should have been happy. But I was completely dysregulated and jangly and that's not the same as like someone else who'd done it and might have felt like they'd won the lottery because they got accepted into this limited place that they could go and work through their music and improve and get better. And it's so funny because it just feels so lopsided compared to what it should feel like. It feels empty and it feels like exposing yourself. It feels like, oh, great, I'm going to go and have to do this again. Because certainly, like, this musician realized they had to write a whole bunch more songs and be even more prepared for this other thing. So imagine you finish your work and then you hit publish and both of those things make you feel terrible. What are you going to do next time? When you come up to a speed bump in your project, rather than keeping going all the way to the end and getting to that finished state, it's just easier to drop it and start again. That's why starting always feels better. Because you don't get into that, never mind the messy middle, but you don't get into that like icky, horrible finished state. And now I don't have the skill set, the motivation, and it feels bad. No wonder people don't go back for another go. Because the best part of the whole cycle is starting a new project. It feels good. And this is why building a community around you to support you, not necessarily in an accountability way, but just having people who know you, who get you, can be so helpful. And I've really seen that in the sessions that we run and called Parallel Play. There are lots of us that are creative. We're working towards getting our work done, but we're also encouraging each other to get the work out there. It's a place where we can talk and share. And this is where I heard the story of that musician who'd applied for a place and he felt bad. But we were all able to hear that and understand that. And some of the ways we can move forward is being around other people who understand that, who get it, who feel the same thing. We also need to learn to regulate our emotional system. And sometimes that can be going for a walk, touching grass, taking a nap, having a bath, learning some breathing exercises, whatever it is so we can take that energy out of our bodies and let it flow into something else and find a place to kind of ground yourself. Another thing that can be really helpful is this idea of graduated exposure. It needs to be done carefully. You start with something slow, it's low stakes, and you do it with support and without judgment. You have people around you to help you. And you start to build capacity to understand that, oh, my world didn't end. It didn't kill me. In fact, it wasn't too bad. And you build it up and you build it up. And those things take time. And it's not, and I've trained as a coach, and I thought that coaching people through this was the way forward. But in fact, traditional coaching methods just make that feel worse because you're now being given out to by your coach about a thing that you're already given out to yourself about, and your body is telling you that this is terrible too. So it's like lose, lose, lose scenario. So it's not about accountability partners. It's about support. It's about community. It's about care. It's about being there for each other. It might even be about outsourcing the, publishing piece to somebody else, hiring somebody to help you with that. And it's much more around the idea of being accompanied. And that's why I've been calling myself a creative guide for most of this journey. Because I don't think the coaching model works in this space. This is about stepping through things together. I'm not in charge, I'm not the boss, but I've been through it before and I've been through it with lots of people. And it's more like helping to birth something new into the world. The idea of a doula. So if your work is made and it's not moving, if it's sitting on a shelf or in a drawer and it deserves to be seen, please come to one of our parallel play sessions. There'll be a link in the description. And if beyond that, you're a little bit stuck, not sure where it is that you're held up, there's a link to a quiz in the description, and that will help you to land a little bit closer to where it is that you're kind of getting tripped up. Fill that in and I will get back to you with a response detailing what you can do, steps you can take today to start to move forward. But it'd be great to have people come along and join the parallel play sessions. It's where people who are like you get to work together, get to put their work out, and get to share their progress and their journeys. But if you want to work together with me, check the link in the description for my website. I'd love to have a chance to have a chat with you, find out where you are, and help you to move forward. Okay. YouTube is going to recommend another video for you here. And until the next time, stay creative.